Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a video to compare two very similar and wonderful wireless gaming mice. The SteelSeries Prime Wireless, seen here in black, and the Logitech G Pro X Superlight, seen in white. Now, these are two mice that are reasonably comparable for a number of different reasons. The main one of which, I believe, is just the overall aesthetic. As you can see, they're both quite understated, and they both have some nice PTFE slick feet and a similar sort of shape and size, and they're also roughly comparable in specs. Both have, for example, 1000 Hz polling rate, both have 400 IPS and 40 Gs acceleration. The Superlight is a little bit better in terms of the max DPI. It goes up to 25,600 DPI, whereas the SteelSeries Prime Wireless goes up to 18,000 CPI, but otherwise they're quite comparable. The Superlight is, as you can imagine, super light. It is the lighter of the two, coming in at 63 grams, whereas the SteelSeries Prime Wireless weighs a little bit more, roughly 82, as you'll see later. And the click response is ever so slightly different, but they are remarkably comparable. And I will leave this clip that you're seeing now at the end of the video so you can hear the difference between the mice and also the response on the desk. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the differences between them and the highlights and lowlights of the experience with them. I have unboxed and reviewed both these mice separately. I actually did a video on the black one of the Superlight and the Prime Wireless as well, and in those videos I go into in a bit more depth in terms of the setup, but also the software and the customization options. But what you'll see is two quite understated and yet very nice looking mice with a very nice setup on them. The Prime Wireless has an interesting ABS micro textured rough finish to it, and some very subtle design accents that include obviously the SteelSeries logo, two side buttons, and a minor tiny little bit of RGB lighting on the mouse wheel. The Superlight is slightly different. It is perhaps a little bit slippier in the hand, but it's also significantly more lightweight. It also has those side buttons, and it doesn't have any RGB lighting, which is one of the more interesting things about it. Now, the G Pro X Superlight also has around 70 hours of battery life, whereas the Prime Wireless has about 100 hours. The Prime Wireless is also interesting because it has fast charge capabilities, and you can get up to 40 hours of extra battery life out of it with just 15 minutes of charge when plugged in. So, 2.4 gigahertz wireless, both of these mice, obviously with the respective technology. The Prime Wireless has Quantum 2.0 wireless technology, which SteelSeries says is dual band, so it's designed to not have any problems with packet loss or drop of signal, and it certainly didn't experience a problem with it. I also didn't experience any issues with the Logitech mouse either. They both have a good solid connection over wireless and deliver a nice satisfying experience. Now, the G Pro X Superlight is renowned for being a fantastic gaming mouse, and it is certainly a very nice one to use. I found it comfortable and responsive with 5 programmable buttons and a satisfying tactile mouse wheel. The Prime Wireless is interesting because it has optical mechanical switches that are guaranteed up to 100 million clicks. It's also designed for claw, fingertip, and palm grip setup, and so is capable of working with a number of different hands. I found both these mice to be comparable in size, and what you'll see is that the Prime Wireless is interesting because it comes with a USB-C 2.4 GHz wireless dongle. You can obviously plug that into your PC, but there's also this adapter. So if you don't have a USB-C connection on your PC, you can plug it into this adapter and plug the cable that's included with it into a USB-A port, and you can obviously then put that adapter and the dongle on your desk within close reach. You can then plug this in when you need to, plug it into the mouse, obviously, to get charge. I found during use that I didn't have to charge this mouse very much at all. Obviously, with 100 hours of battery life, or up to 100 hours, it is very good, and you don't need to plug in very often. and that is obviously a bonus. As I said already, the dongle gives a great connection. I didn't find that I was losing connection at all, and it is a very wonderful setup. But the one downside that I will say is I did find that the USB cable is a bit tricky to plug in. The mouse is a little bit fiddly for some reason, and getting the USB connection into the mouse itself can be a bit of a faff. The cable is, however, flexible and nice and easy to use, and it also doesn't tug or nag on the desk either, so certainly a nice setup in terms of that, apart from the minor complaint of having to plug it in and that being a little bit fiddly. You can see some of the action of that here. It's just a little, the housing is just a little bit stiff and it's a bit of a pain. Now, I am a bit of a clumsy-handed gamer, so perhaps you won't have that experience, but it's worth bearing in mind. Now, as I said already, the SteelSeries Prime Wireless isn't as lightweight as the G Pro X Superlight. It comes in around 112 grams with the cable, and mine came in at about 82 grams without. It is said to weigh 80 grams, so yours might vary in weight, but mine's 82, which isn't terribly heavy. It's obviously not as light as something like the SteelSeries Aerox 3 Wireless, which I've done a video on previously, or even the wired Aerox 3, but it is still a nice weight. It also has some virgin grade PTFE glides on the bottom with some pretty large zones, and this results in a nice slick and easy to move mouse that is great for gaming. I found this very responsive, obviously with 1000 Hz polling rate and true move sensor, as well as 18,000 max CPI. It is really easy adjustable. The most satisfying thing though about this mouse is almost certainly the click response from those optical mechanical switches. They are wonderfully clicky. They give a satisfying action, and obviously they use a light beam in order to register your click presses, so you will ensure an accurate response from them. I had a great gaming experience with this mouse, and also generally with it for working purposes. And one of the complaints that I did have though, and I mentioned this in the review, is that I found that the side buttons are just a little bit too recessed. I like my side buttons to be nice and accessible for FPS games. I tend to use them for things like equipping grenades, switching weapons, or using like a fast melee action. I have found, unfortunately, that the front button on this one is particularly problematic, and that button can be a bit difficult to press, which is a bit of a nag. It's a minor complaint, but I think it's worth noting. However, the overall response from it is nice. As I said, ABS textured finish to it, so it's slightly matte, slightly rough, and this means that it's easy to hold on to. I do feel that it is a bit smaller than I'd like. It's not the largest mouse out there, but it's not tiny either. Both mice are comparable in size, and that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to talk about and compare them. And I found that this one is easy to grip onto, and even when you get hot hands, as I do during a gaming session or just under heavy use, it isn't a problem to grip. You'll hear a little bit more of that click response from it, which is obviously only on the main switches. The side buttons don't give that same satisfying action. It is nicely customizable within SteelSeries GG software and the SteelSeries engine, where you can customize things like the DPI level, or as it's known on this mouse, the CPI level. You can adjust the 5 different levels, and also the button on the underside changes between those levels. And then the RGB lighting around the mouse wheel changes color to let you know which zone you're currently in, which is a really nifty feature of the mouse. The G Pro X Superlight is a better looking mouse, perhaps, with some quite different accents and highlights to it. It is a lot stealthier, especially in the black variant, and both the white and black one come with grip tape, so if you want extra grip, then you can get it. You'll see that it has large, slick PTFE areas on the underside, but it is otherwise very understated. There's no excessive RGB lighting. Like the SteelSeries Prime Wireless, this mouse only has the wireless connection or the wired connection. The main difference here, though, is that you will note that the Logitech G Pro X Superlight comes with a micro USB cable. It also has a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and you can store that dongle in the underside of the mouse. So you'll see there's a little hatch on the bottom with the Logitech G logo on it. You can take that off, and in there you can store the dongle when not in use. You will also note that included in the box you also get an adapter or an extension thing that you can put on your desk to have the dongle close to you, and the micro USB charging cable within reach as well. You also have a swappable cover. So instead of that Logitech G logo cover, you can put this extra one on with PTFE area on it, so you can increase the PTFE goodness on the bottom of it and make it even slicker. Now, as I said, this mouse has a slightly higher sensor. It uses a Hero sensor and it goes from 100 DPI up to 25,600, so it has a much higher range of DPI level. It has, however, the same max acceleration at 40 Gs and max speed at 400 IPS. So very comparable, and with the 1000 Hz polling rate. It is, however, considerably lighter, coming in, as you can see, 61 grams here. Logitech says 63, but obviously you're going to get some variance in that, especially if you swap out the bottom hatches. So if you install the one with the PTFE area, you'll notice that adds an extra gram in weight, for example. And obviously if you then dock the USB dock in there and then using it in wired mode, that too will make a difference to the overall weight. Both of them, however, are very lightweight, and you will certainly notice a difference between the two if you were holding them in the hand, because the G Pro X Superlight is significantly lighter. And I think that the larger, slicker areas make it more agile on the desk. However, the micro USB charging cable may be a problem for many. It is an annoyance to have micro USB. However, I actually found it easier to plug in than the USB-C cable on the Prime Wireless, simply because that was remarkably fiddly for some reason. You will see also with the cable installed, it is actually only 99 grams, so it's still lighter than the Prime Wireless with its cable, which means that this is definitely the lighter of the two mice, but still a fantastic setup for both and a wonderful mouse. Now, I reviewed the black version of this, and I am of the opinion that the white one looks a lot nicer, but if you'd like to see the G Pro X Superlight coming out of the box with the black variant and the grip tape being installed and close-ups of that, please click the link in the description to watch the video on that and find out more about the software and other things. So what you're seeing is two fantastic mice with some slight differences. Obviously the G Pro X Superlight doesn't have any RGB lighting, it's lighter. It has a higher DPI level. It is perhaps the nicer looking of the two, but it doesn't have as good a battery life. It also has a micro USB, which is a bit of an annoyance for some, but then you do have slicker PTFE areas and the ability to change them out. You also have the grip tape to ensure that it sticks in your hand a bit better. I think as standard, the frame is a lot slicker and smoother, which means it's less easy to grip, so it's well worth using that grip tape. And the Prime Wireless is a lot easier to grip onto. Here you can see and hear them in a bit more of a close-up side by side. I'm going to be quiet so you can hear the sounds between them. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, and thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.